The voice of sharing. Durian ASEAN.
Hi, good morning. This is Arlene. We have full house here at Durian ASEAN office, and we're going to start our day today with the top 10 news from Southeast Asia. So, hi, everyone. We have Pepper here.
Good morning.
And we have Kim, our assistant producer, and Gauri, her first day here.
Welcome, Gauri.
And we have two other friends here from Sekolah Aktivisme, Danny and also Sheila.
Hi.
Hi. So they are going to just join in, wherever you can for our today's top 10 news from Southeast Asia. So the first news is about the Khmer New Year, reported by the Bangkok Post.
The Songkran Festival.
Oh, sorry.
From Bangkok.
I think a different country, they have different names to,
It happens to be this month. Like
it happens to be
in this month.
So the Khmer will be on another news. For Bangkok, it's called the Songkran Festival. Unfortunately, 102 people were killed and 893 people injured on the Songkran during the Songkran Festival itself. And it stated that it's the second of the 7 dangerous day, April 11 to April 17 of the Songkran Festival, according to the Road Accidents Prevention and Reduction Center of the Disaster Prevention and Mitigation Department. So there's a lot of people facing road accidents during festival days. What do you think?
I think that is horrible that people during the festivities you actually have to have a funeral.
Mm-hmm.
And in Malaysia that happens every year as well. During Raya, Chinese New Year, you always get people rushing home, trying to be with their families, and what happens is these people arrive back in coffins, and it's just ridiculous.
And for this particular Songkran festival, most of the death or major accident causes were drunk driving, which is account to 38.43%, and speeding, 25.27%. In Malaysia, also we like to speed a lot, isn't it?
Yes.
In fact, if I'm not mistaken, we were part of this list where they assess the most dangerous roads in the world, and Malaysia is one of it. Yeah, one of the top 10.
But Malaysia doesn't, a lot of Malaysians do not drink. So how does that account for drunk driving?
So
I have no idea, but but I think when it comes to the Songkran Festival, the most possible assessment on why these are happening is because of the lack of good traffic systems, e.g. having police traffic, speed trap and all that. And, without all these measures put in place, people tend to break the law.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Especially if you can bribe policemen easily, that could also account for one of the reasons as well.
Yeah, I guess the sad thing is it also happened in Cambodia, and then it's not like just a one country's problem. It's like a universal problem.
Yeah, that's true. And talking about Cambodia, the next one would be a similar story, which is about the festival itself. Although in Cambodia it's called the Khmer New Year. So 9 Cambodian workers returning home, and they were migrant workers, by the way, unfortunately died on Friday in a car crash, the first major traffic disaster in lead up to the Khmer New Year. So I wonder why it happens not just in one country but a few countries, celebrating similar festival itself.
I think people tend to lose their rationality when they are really happy. There's a proverb in Chinese. It says 乐极生悲. It's
what is that?
When you are really happy, it kind of leads to something bad, something unhappy, or something
So
sad.
yeah, we superstitious.
No, it's
the
like
reason on
because
this.
when you are really happy, you tend to be unaware of a lot of things. You tend to be enjoying, immersing yourself in the happiness, and then you start to ignore, neglect whatever happen around you. It's like when during New Year's, like everybody is very happy, right? So they are like trying to rush home and such, and they didn't really take like safety precautions during.
She might have a point, no? I mean, okay, let's say you've got 4 people in your car, and then a couple comes out and say, "Hey, come on now, let us also, join your car because we also want to balik kampung."
Right.
What are you gonna do? Are you gonna say no to your friends and
Right.
say, "Okay, no lah, you just stay here lah, since you didn't buy a bus ticket. My car is full already." But you keep thinking, maybe I could fit 2 more people with 2 large bags in the boot, and that could make the car unsafe.
Yeah.
But you forget that you want to arrive home safely.
Yeah.
And when
Yeah.
there's more people on the road, accidents tends to happen like more frequently, lah, I guess.
Yeah, higher chance of.
That's true. Moving on to Yangon, on a similar festival in Myanmar, it's called the Tingyan Water Festival, which is similar to the Khmer New Year as well as the Songkran Water Festival. So this is of a different concern for the Myanmar people. They are complaining that the festival has changed their tradition in a way. So in Myanmar, for this year, they are celebrating it big, like really, really big. And when you say big, meaning that they are having outdoor dance club, complete with blaring sound system, and with lots and lots of water.
Which we would love to have in KL right now with all
Yeah,
the
we
water
are-
rationing stuff.
Yeah, I mean, but to them, they say that this is such a loss of our culture. They say that we used to celebrate peacefully without spending huge amount of money. Now, if you go anywhere near Mandalay Mount, all you can see is big stage covered with ads. So this is a huge departure, I guess, from the Myanmar during the military.
But it's
rule.
not much different from here in Malaysia. Think about it. All your Hari Raya ads you see on TV are by Petronas, Maybank, isn't it? All the really good ones.
And I think the biggest concern is the water, because during the Tingyan festival, they will be throwing away 60 million gallon of water. Just like that, like throw to each other.
Wow.
And mind you, like Myanmar is a poor country. They have a lot of problems, like lack of access to clean water, especially among the rural areas. And considering Myanmar is transiting towards a more open door policy, it seems like capitalism has sort of shaped the old tradition that they have previously practiced.
Well, capitalism has also shaped China, even though they deny it. Isn't it, right?
Yeah.
I think the only few countries not affected by this rampant capitalism is probably Cuba, I think.
But at least the good things is, according to the news, they said that some of the older customs live on. So one is the Tingyan Tangyat, which is a satirical performance that mock the wrongdoings of people in
that's
power.
such a cool.
I really like this kind of theatre performance where they actually try to voice out certain issues that you face in the country, and then you perform it through performing arts.
It's probably like the Daily Show, but
Yeah.
the traditional Myanmar style, I
Yeah.
guess.
And
It's like-
actually, it was banned last time until the government started introducing political reforms in 2011.
This is interesting. I would love to go and watch the satirical performance mocking the wrongdoings of people in power. So yeah, I'm sure you guys would love to. In Malaysia, we have very little avenue for those kind of
No, we have a lot of avenue for that, but it just doesn't get out to the masses.
Yeah,
Because
it's not mainstream
Yeah, it's
enough,
not mainstream.
isn't it?
Yeah.
This is really mainstream, I guess.
Like this show. This show is so
different.
different from every other kind of radio shows, but it's not mainstream enough. No?
That's true. So the next one about Cambodia. So reported by the Cambodia Daily. So Cambodia and Japan, they have signed a joint agreement on Friday to work towards lowering the carbon emissions in Cambodia with the help of Japanese technology. That's cool. Japan are on board, to help Cambodia and hopefully the rest of Southeast Asia to
So
reduce carbon
how are
emissions.
they going to do this? By building better cars?
I think it's more than that. I think it is a strategic development plan. Yeah, Sheila, you have something to say. Go ahead.
Cambodia has got like I don't know 1 million motorbikes, if not more. So how will Japanese technology aid with this?
Maybe the Honda motorcycles.
No, I mean you said earlier that you want to build better cars, right? That would be a proposal how the Japanese would help. But the thing is, Cambodia has got like
1 million cars.
no, not, the cars are not that many.
More
The
motorcycles than cars, that's what
motorcycles,
she's saying.
It's almost impossible to cross the road without, at least grazing one motorbike. It's that bad.
I think it will be more than just a vehicle. I think from what is being reported is the joint crediting mechanism. That is what they are focusing on. The Japanese the Japanese side, they will finance biogas digester, sustainable transport, lighting, energy efficient in buildings, and micro hydropower plants. We should be promoted under the partnership. So it's a long-term partnership, and he said that such initiative will help Cambodia produce more renewable energy. I think the key word here is energy, renewable energy. And especially with the climate change, that is a big word, in today's modern society. Having more green energy technology and industry would definitely be a positive step to prepare ourselves for the, future ahead, especially having a more greener and sustainable economy.
I think it is more essential for Cambodia to have this kind of aids from Japan, because after the Khmer Rouge regimes, like so many people was killed, like the intelligence one, like there are really lack of knowledges and also like information regarding technology. So it is really good that Japan is trying to help Cambodia in recovering their country states. Despite all the news that we heard from Cambodia, it's all sorts of news that is lack of development from the governments.
Yeah, I think all in all, it's a good example of bilateral relationship that benefits both countries. Increase the usage of renewable energy, as well as learning from each other the best practices and all that. So I mean, I'm not sure the situation in Malaysia. Are we gearing towards a more a more greener economy that focuses on renewable energy?
We are. We had that initiative where wasn't there a company supplying solar panels that ended up in the minister's daughter's hands or something to the effect.
There will be another story to talk about.
Yeah, let's talk about in crony capitalism topic discussion, all right?
So talking about Malaysia, in this case, our neighbor Singapore. It's being reported in today's online that language curricula is regularly revised by the Deputy Prime Minister Teo of Singapore. So in Singapore, they are trying to, I would say, enhance or uplift the minority languages, the Malay, Chinese, and Tamil languages curricula. They said that they are constantly being reviewed from time to time to ensure that they are relevant, interesting, and meaningful. I'm not sure what does that really mean, but in a sense that it's good in a way that the government in Singapore are not just focusing on English, but also trying to preserve and sort of make it more up to date for all these minority languages.
But Singapore has always had English and Chinese as one of their focus languages, right? Since maybe 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah, but I think the majority one is English because I've seen a lot of them. They don't really know about Mandarin well, and they don't really how to say respect their own language, because the aim of doing the revise of the curricula in Singapore, according to the Deputy Prime Minister Tan Chee Hin, he said that the aim is to strengthen students' communication skills and their cultural understanding and appreciation. I guess that is kind of lacking in whatever is happening in Singapore. Like,
Dato' Mat Saleh, is it?
right? Because a lot of them thinks that English is their native language. English is their, how to say, their
Everyday
culture.
language, yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I mean, I think previous times they focused too much on the economic benefit of a language that they forgot the cultural and historical benefit of the other languages. And in this case, preserving minority languages or mother tongue languages is important because you enhance the diversity of your country. Or not, you will just be a capitalistic state that has no dimension, no I would say
No culture lah.
no culture.
yeah.
It will just be a very one mono dimension,
Yeah.
monocultural society. But Singapore, as I would say, the brother or sister of Malaysia, they share similar culture and they are diverse as us in Malaysia.
Yeah. I can tell you that Singapore has got a very strong Bapa Nyonya society. I think it's even stronger than the one in Malaysia. And yet, in Malaysia, we got more Bapa Nyonyas than they have. But it was their country that gave us little Nyonya. Right?
Yeah. It's a shame.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just to top it off, like the center trains about 3,000 Malay language teachers every year since the beginning of its operation in 2010, as well as they have training centers for Chinese and Tamil at the Singapore Center for Chinese Language and the Umar Pulavar Tamil Language Center. So I guess this is a positive development in Singapore, in a sense. So move on to the next one. We have to go straight to Indonesia. So Indonesia, as we all know, they are having their elections. They have several rounds of elections from the very bottom, which is the election of choosing the head of villages, which is Ketua Kampung, to the topmost election, which is the presidential election. And so in this headline, it's written as Indonesia poll outcomes deems economic reform hopes, said analysts. So it says that the prospect for much needed reforms, especially in economic reforms, for Indonesia, who is considered a Southeast Asia top economy, are in doubts after a worse than expected election performance by the main opposition. The main opposition wasn't able to secure a good number, and that percentage would be between 20 to 25, right? They only secure 19% of majority votes, and it would not be good because in a way they are left. They need to form a coalition with other parties, and in that sense, it's hard to get a more unanimous voice in forming policy, especially policy related to their economy.
Yeah.
You have strong opinions on this, right? Because you met someone from Indonesia on your flight back.
It's actually no. It's actually my friends who's still in Indonesia, and then we actually have a talk the other day, and then it's not like we talk about these issues from the economic perspective, like what is mentioned in the news, but then they actually have like a strong hope towards the new prime minister that they are electing, which is Joko Widodo. So a lot of people think that he's capable of bringing new hopes in Indonesia. However, like despite like his popularity, how they won is not really fascinating lah. Like because it's a very, very little majority. Even though they are the first one, but then they didn't really won with a huge percentage. However, like from what I've spoken to my friends, like they have a lot of faith in Jokowi, and according to the news or so, there's a Canadian Muslim, a researcher from Polster Indonesia Political Indicator, he also said that based on Jokowi's track record in Jakarta, he's much more decisive than Yudhoyono, which is the previous prime minister.
Just to give a background about Joko, that's a very interesting name. His party is called the Indonesian Democratic Party of Struggle, PDIP. I like the word struggle there. It sounds very. It sounds very, you are doing something
Activist.
really cool, like really, sounds very activism, very grassroots in a way. So, in a sense, for the opposition leader, he's seen as a favorite. It's just that he wasn't able to gain the popular votes, majority popular
but
votes.
Still, they have won the elections, so it's a good thing, I guess.
Yeah.
And then he's actually a very people person. It's in the news. It says since become Jakarta governor in 2012, so Joko has made a start on tackling the city's many problems, beginning public transport projects to ease its paralyzing traffic jams, increasing access to health and education. So in contrast, Yudhoyono has faced criticisms, so particularly during his second term for being indecisive and failing to get enough done.
But considering his track record, he has made a lot of reforms and improvements towards the city of Jakarta.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of being more popular than just Jakarta, I guess.
Yeah, because he have done a good job for Jakarta. I guess like people could see his achievement, like his whatever he has done. So it is good that they managed to choose a leader based on what they wanted to.
The performance, then
based
the
on
person
their
himself.
performance. Yeah.
So from Indonesia, we go back, we retreat back to our own country. And this time we will talk about Malaysia and GST, the goods and services tax. So UMNO, as we all know, has trained or will be training 500 speakers to explain about GST. So it seems like the government is taking really a huge line or a huge effort to educate us about GST, the good thing about the good part of GST. So the total of 500 speakers, they will be trained to explain to all of us laymen, especially people from the rural areas, about what GST is all about, why it is good for the country. But I don't know. What do you think? Do you think it's a good effort by the government, or do you think this is a whole bunch of propaganda, brewing in?
I think for GST, GST works all over the world, and it's useful to arrest a declining economy. But the problem, I think a lot of us who know about GST or has heard of GST is, okay, if we pay GST, what about corruption? What about the billions of dollars that are wasted in projects like the mega tower, the 2 submarines that cannot submerge, the PKFZ, and all these other things that have been wasted on. They go into the tune of billions of dollars, not just 100 ringgit or 200 ringgit here and there. So if we pump in another 70 billion through GST, is this money going to go to waste, or is this money going to be used back for the rakyat?
I see.
And I think that this is the thing that the rakyat is really angry about. That's why they want to bantah the GST. There's no point paying more taxes when all these taxes will be used in cronies, in using it, in use to finance the FRU to shoot tear gas at protesters. Yeah, these are the things that we are worried about.
Yeah, talking about the GST trainings, I happened to know a friend who went to the Friday prayer or the Friday prayer sermons, or in Malay it's called Khutbah Jumaat. The imam there or the ulama there already started, giving sermons about the positive side of GST and how it is actually in line with Islamic teaching.
Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but these khutbahs actually come from the Jabatan Islam, isn't it?
What is it?
The khutbahs.
It is a centralized. Their message are centralized.
I'm just
Islamic department.
surprised that the imam knows so much about the GST that he can actually tell you the advantages of GST. Really? Yeah, you've got to be a really clever imam. And I'm not saying that there are no clever imams, but I'm just saying that we know that it comes from a centralized jabatan. So therefore, are you just being a parrot or a loudspeaker who just repeating what's been given to you?
And from how I see this news is that they are training people to explain the goods and services tax.
And the people are best speakers in this country, mind you.
And how I see it is like they are explaining the goods of the goods and services tax. The goods of GST.
Yeah, the
only.
positive sides.
Yeah,
only.
because I feel like if they are really going to tell us what GST is, it is a good thing that it's an extra knowledge for us as a citizens. But if you're just going to tell us the good of GST, it is not helping. You are just blind, you are blinding us from getting to know what.
And the
GST
training will
really
be on
is.
April 18, which is another 4 days, I guess. It will constitute speakers from 165 parliamentary constituencies in the whole of Peninsular Malaysia. And in fact, the UMNO Information Chief, Dato' Ahmad Azlan, he will personally be involved in the training session.
You know what, a friend told me, kalau UMNO suka, biarlah UMNO yang bayar. At least it's also, why should UMNO be the one spearheading this thing? It should be a government objective, really. Not just a party objective.
Yeah. Why they are training a speaker? You should just get what we already have, like the economies in hand, and then let them tell us the truth, not purposely having a training.
It looks
and you give them
in your face sort of propaganda, isn't it?
Yeah.
And some more, information about, especially information that relates to economy, it should be explained in a way that is in a neutral form, not in a why it is good for us, but what about the alternative non-mainstream view of GST, which is it might be harmful for the short term and long term, and considering that a lot of Malaysians are facing high cost of living and
low wages.
Yeah, stagnant wages since decades ago. The government should consider these things that why people see GST is not the best tax
even
to be taxed to us Malaysian, at least for now,
Yeah, even if you go to the doctor will tell you, okay, this medicine is good for your health, but there is complication. You shouldn't just tell us the good of the GST. You should let us at least know, aware of what complication it might bring.
Yeah, and just to give a background, the GST will be enforced on April 1st next year, replacing the sales and services tax. So be prepared.
But on the other hand, on May 1st, it seems there's going to be a protest from KLCC to Dataran Merdeka, organized by Mat Sabu from PAS.
When is it?
May 1st.
May 1st, huh?
Yeah, but I don't know the time. I just saw on Facebook that there's going to be a big protest.
Just some information. We are not promoting it anyway.
No, I'm just giving you the other the other side of the
Pepper is
coin.
promoting it. So the next one is about Brunei. As you all know, Brunei will be having its first Sharia law implemented on 22nd of April. So UN is criticizing Brunei over its tough new Islamic law. And the UN Human Rights Group on Friday actually said that Brunei's planned introduction of the death penalty for a raft of new offences as part of a shift to harsh Islamic punishment in the oil-rich country. And so they are concerned with Brunei because when you talk about Islamic law in the Brunei context, a lot of the law will involve death penalty. And this would include, hear this, rape, adultery, sodomy, extramarital sexual relations for Muslims, but also crimes like robbery and murder. And also, the death sentence could also be imposed for defamation of the Prophet Muhammad, insulting any verses of the Quran and Hadith, blasphemy, and declaring oneself a prophet or non-Muslim. So the application of the death penalty covers a broad range of offences contravened to international law. Seems like they are actively looking for ways to kill people.
Yes, and actually the part where there's a new criminal code which is expected to enter into force on April 22nd or so, it also introducing stoning to death.
Yeah.
And that international law classified stoning as torture or other cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment or punishment. So meaning it is banned under global human rights treaties. So how could they actually implement it in their country?
They
Actually,
have
you
their
can.
own rights
You
to
can
do
because your country is sovereign to yourself, you see. So you can just do whatever kind of law you want. You don't have to follow the universal declarations. You don't have to. But I actually finished reading Qasim Ahmad's his book about the hadith.
About
I can't remember the title now.
Yeah.
I actually read it twice, but I cannot remember the title now. And he was just saying that the
Satu Penilaian Hadis.
Satu Penilaian. I read the English version. He was saying that the hadith is not the Quran, but here it says that if you blaspheme against the Quran and the hadith, it's death penalty as well.
Actually, Brunei practices a more conservative form of Islam that maybe Malaysia and Indonesia might not be as severe as them, because they also ban the sales and public consumption of alcohol and closely restricting other religions. In fact, one of the news commentary we had earlier, a few days, I think it was last week, they said it is part of their constitution that non-Muslim should have less right than Muslim.
They doesn't have like a real freedom of religion in
Yeah,
their country.
for the non-Muslim.
Oh,
And
really?
it is
Yes.
it's being stated there. It's like
their
you have
constitution.
less right than us, so
Yeah.
swallow the pill.
Yeah, it is actually about the prohibiting of usage of Islamic terms. So it is the news about prohibiting, because they said that it is not violating their freedom of religion, because they doesn't really have actually a freedom of religion, the total freedom of religion in Brunei for the non-Muslim.
You know, this could be all big talk because you've got a lot of oil right now, so we don't really need anyone else from outside.
Yeah.
But oil will run out soon. So what are you going to do then?
I think the deeper question is, what is the spirit of Islam that they are trying to promote?
Good
is it a
point,
more
good point.
Is it a more legalistic, punishment-centric Islam?
Yes.
Or is it a Islam that is based on universal principle, on peace and forgiveness?
Yeah.
I mean, when you talk about Islam, they are almost half of the population in the world are Muslim, or
No, I think it's 1/5, right?
1/5. I mean,
There's 7 billion people in the world, so I think 1/5 is Muslim and 1/5 is Christian, and then lain lah. Dan lain lah.
Kesian lah.
So anyway, my point is, there are a lot of Muslim, inhabiting this earth.
I think this region we have a lot of Muslims.
Yeah,
You know, Malaysia is a
especially
Muslim
this
country.
region as well. Like, what kind of Islam are we promoting here? And there's very little room for discourse on Islam, especially in Brunei itself. You can't even talk about Sharia law in the social media.
But how can you not talk about it if you want people to understand the Sharia? You must talk about it. You must allow people to ask questions or to criticize it.
It is part of the law. You will be punished if you talk negatively about the Sharia law that will be implemented in a couple of days later. And another thing is about ASEAN. We are heading towards ASEAN Community 2015. And in this regard, like, where's the spirit of love thy neighbor? We should concern with each other's,
But love thy neighbor is a Christian biblical thing.
I don't think it's applicable in Brunei.
But even in Islam, like, you have to love your neighbor in a way. You have to care about your neighbors. So in that sense, we have to look at the bigger picture here, especially for ASEAN, to see the Brunei issue is also an ASEAN issue. So these are our stories for today. Thank you everyone for coming to our top 10 ASEAN news, and we will continue again with Blast from the Grassroots.
Bye.
Bye.